Okay, we cut it off 16 seconds early, the countdown.
We did.
We did. How's it going, Ben?
Really nice, really good. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I think we've talked on the phone before, but we've never video chatted, so this is a first.
Yeah, exactly. This is a first for us to kind of see each other face to face.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Um, there are already some comments to respond to. Thank you for everyone watching and those commenting already. If you hear anything weird with the audio levels, like always, tell me. I can adjust me or Ben if one of us is
Yeah,
too
yeah,
quiet.
both of us.
Yeah. And Fernando Hernandez says, "Wow, it is so nice to listen to you again."
Oh, thank you. It's so nice. It's always nice to share my music with you every now and then.
And Taiwo says, "Nice to be here. Great to see you both. My greetings from Nigeria, west of Africa, watching with my neighbor and my family." That's really sweet, Taiwo. Thank you.
It's so sweet. Yeah, to see all those people watching the show as well. So greetings from Canada, which is way colder probably.
Yeah.
It's to hear you in the chat as well. It's a real pleasure to work with you.
Yeah, and we're gonna hear some of Taiwo's music later, actually.
Great.
And I am, and also Taiwo's gonna be on the show in a week or so. Um,
Awesome.
I'll
Congratulations.
make an announcement about that later. But
Okay.
Will Douglas says, "Great playing."
Thanks, Will.
Anyhow, it's nice to have you here, Ben. I'll ask you to do here a very quick intro to you and who you are and what you do, some like Spark Notes version, something short, and then we'll listen to some music. So why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself for those who don't know you already?
Sounds good. Okay, my name is Ben Diamond. We might have already got that already. And I'm going into my fourth year of performance studies at Memorial University of Newfoundland here in St. John's in Canada, under the tutelage of Sylvie Prou, where I'm also studying a minor in composition under the tutelage of Dr. Andrew Staniland. And so, yeah, outside of my studies and my performance practice, I am also doing the Atlantic Guitar Society, which I founded and became the president of in winter of February of 2020. And so that's an organization that I founded as part of my undergraduate curriculum, actually. And so, out of a course called Music in the Community, I was able to basically create this community project, which is kind of like what it is to begin with. And I got to work closely with my dean, who was my supervisor, and we got to create launch an event. We had a mini festival day in March, and now we're having an upcoming event, which I'll definitely be talking about a lot of later. And outside of those two things, I also have a busy teaching schedule. I teach out of two different organizations, and yeah, and so I think my passion and my performance practice has been like mostly surrounded by contemporary music, especially with a focus on Canadian composers, which is the focus of my new CD coming out later this fall called Prime. And yeah, so besides my performance practice, I also do really enjoy like all of the eras. I really love this instrument, and I love to be here and just learning from everybody else. I love to learn. I also like being outside. I like going for hikes. I like spending time with friends. I like all these things about guitar festivals. I like traveling, and yeah, I like food as well.
Awesome.
That's it.
Wow, a man of many talents. Um, awesome, cool. Well, we'll definitely talk about all those projects in a little more detail. But yeah, I mean, you're doing a lot of stuff. It's almost like you're prepared for the life of a musician, which is, believe it or not, not just about playing your instrument, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Um,
There's a lot of things like it's like those iceberg memes where it's like there's the playing and then there's everything else.
yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of people, I mean, it's really great that you're doing all this stuff already while you're in your undergrad, because I think a lot of people maybe don't realize until they graduate, even from their masters, how much they're going to be doing if they want a career in terms of like teaching and also admin and getting involved in community projects and just lots of
Yeah.
stuff. So it's good.
Yeah, and I'm also lucky to be here in like such a supportive environment too at my undergraduate. There's an advantageously low ratio. I think there's 3 students per one professor, and so I feel like I have a lot of opportunities, not just in performance, but in learning and in other types of group activities as well. And so starting an organization like this, well, first of all, it was a first. There was no former guitar society here representing Newfoundland or St. John's at all, so I was able to just to get something really off the ground and really get the experience as well.
Yeah, but you have access to your professors since there's so few students, and that's
Yeah.
nice. Steve Murphy says, "Looks great, guys. I have to teach, but I'll be checking in." Thanks, Steve. You can always watch the video later
Steve,
too. The,
cheers.
the video will stay on my YouTube channel and my Facebook profile for people
Yep.
who wanna if you've got something to do and you want to come back to it. That's also cool.
Hmm.
And Craig Visser says that intro was smoking, Ben.
Oh,
Indeed.
thanks. I
Uh,
figured you.
yeah, we're gonna hear some of Craig's music later too, which is gonna be
That's right.
cool. Just teasing everybody, with the things to come. Anyhow, so okay, now that we know a little bit about you, let's listen to some more of your playing. And this time we're going to listen to a piece that you and I both know quite intimately well, I would say.
right, have studied and learned and done all the things with.
Yeah, performed and stuff. We're gonna listen to Shadow Prism by Jason Noble, which fits nicely into your thing of contemporary Canadian music.
That's right, yeah. And
I'm
there's another distinct feature of the recording project as well is that it features largely music written or maybe the composers are from Newfoundland, and so obviously like some people have moved here and they've studied composition here and they've written works here in Newfoundland as well. So there's that connection as well,
okay, so it's not just people actually from Newfoundland, but it's also people who live in Newfoundland and
and also other provinces as well, but mostly Newfoundland.
okay, there's kind of a Newfoundland focus, yeah. And Jason he's in Montreal, right? Yeah, because he's teaching at McGill.
Yeah, that's right.
But he's an assistant graduate assistant professor, yeah, postdoc fellowship, yeah, that's right, that's the word. But he is from Newfoundland. Is he from St. John's? Do you know? I can't remember.
I believe he's from a town outside called Petty Harbor.
Okay,
That's something I would be willing to double check, but he did his studies here in St. John's.
okay.
For
And then he went to McGill. Okay, cool. And so we're gonna listen to this piece. And I have to say also, as someone, I mean, I'm a little older than you've been, and I've been playing like contemporary Canadian music for a while. I think like a lot of us do. I think the guitar world has a healthy amount of contemporary music being played. It was really nice though to see younger players like you picking that up and doing it so enthusiastically. I really appreciate seeing that.
That's such a really nice compliment. That's I think contemporary music has really been my upbringing as well, and I've had only good exposures to it, honestly.
But it's just nice too because it's a little bit easier when you're studying music to sort of ignore contemporary music a little bit. Like you can do that, and kind of get away with it because most programs expect you to play mostly, yeah, the sort of like heavy hitters of the canon, right? Which there's a reason there that we do that, but at the same time, it's nice to see young players like picking that up and really running with it.
Even in developmental pedagogy, like we are automatically directed towards like the soir etudes and playing major and minor scales for 2 hours a day. So like we're kind of embedded in tonality with how we get comfortable with the instruments. So finding ways around that at an earlier stage can really help foster, I think, good habits, and especially for like a musical artistic goal.
Yeah, and I think that playing contemporary music by living composers, especially composers who maybe don't play your instrument, is a really good exercise for students in like understanding how to approach a score where there isn't a lot of preconceived notions. Because with some of that stuff in the canon, if you grow up playing classical guitar, let's say, you kind of know what to do with like Giuliani or even Rodrigo or whatever, because you've been given all these like sort of standard ways of interpreting it. But then when you confront a new score like this, it's like, what do you do? And it's a good learning experience, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah. And so what was your experience with this score? The score is a bit crazy.
Right. Yeah. So a little bit about the score. Obviously, I knew the piece well before I knew the score. The very first guitar concert I ever went to was at a festival called Newfound Music Festival held at the School of Music. So it's a very fitting name, Newfound Music, because it's newly found music in Newfoundland. And so that's an annual event that we have. And Steve Cowan was a guest artist. This was in my grade 12 years. So it was till I was 17 that I never actually heard a guitar in concert. And so if you asked me back then, that's honestly how I would define classical guitar. It was like he was playing like music, almost exclusively Canadian compositions and alumni from the School of Music. And so we had Jason Noble's piece on there, Andrew Stanland, as well as our other composition teacher, Clark Ross. And so there was a wide range of experimentalism and determinacy, improvisation, you name it. And so I think with this piece, it really drew me in because at this time I was learning and playing like a lot of RCM repertoire and like other things like Villa-Lobos preludes and soar larger pieces as well. So this really drew me into something that I realized I never really knew that the guitar could do that. It was like, wow, what do you do with them? And so I really got to experience this really cool understanding of like how harmonics can really work and depict this really different idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of people watching probably know the piece, but just as a quick overview for people, it's a totally aleatoric piece that uses all harmonics and open strings.
Yep.
And so you kind of get to improvise, which is cool because like for those of us who play it, like you and me, it's nice to hear other people who play it because they have a very different performance of it, obviously.
Absolutely. And it's nice to also hear it on this show again too because Steve Cowan was on and he has a different interpretation than me and I have a different interpretation than you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's super fun to do for that reason. I don't know, I was going to ask you what you thought of this, but like when you prepared to play it, did you kind of have to work hard not to put anyone else's interpretation in your head?
I definitely did, yeah.
Okay.
Like, there was moments where I was just like, oh, I'm so glued to that recording. I do that with old repertoire as well too.
Yeah. I think when I knew I wanted to learn this piece, I gave myself a year where I refused to listen to Steve's recording and tried to avoid hearing him play it, actually.
good idea.
Yeah, but it
And
was.
there was some things in your recording as well too that I was really attracted to as well, and I think I actually do them here.
Oh, thanks, man. Well, I'm sure I still took things from Steve because, like there's stuff that he did that just made so much sense.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I think there were certain passages where, like, I just couldn't get the memory of how he recorded it out of my head, and I was kind of had to weigh, like, did I think that was the best way to do it, or could I come up with something else that was... But, there's some stuff in there that's, like, not... Like, the funny thing about this piece is that it's quite specific in terms of dynamics and like, some of the phrasing and stuff. But at the same time, there are some parameters where you can't really be totally sure what it means. Like, for example, the cells where you have, like, the expanding, like, getting faster or getting slower, like
Yeah,
the
the seven
beams.
beams.
Yeah, if it's like repeated cell with that kind of beam, Carlo was asking me, like, does it mean that you should get gradually faster as you repeat it continuously faster or faster and faster, and then when you repeat you start slow again,
Oh yeah, exactly.
because that's
My
not totally clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually, and I knew Steve did it the second way, so I intentionally did it the first way to try to get something different. But yeah,
Nice.
it's just interesting how many little things you can find that you can sort of explore yourself in a piece like this. Is there anything else you want to say about it before we listen to it?
Yeah. So this is just briefly. This is one of the pieces featured on my upcoming CD release later in the fall called Prime, and it's like I just said, exclusively Canadian works. And yeah, so this is one of the pieces you're going to hear there. That's of solo guitar as well. It's mostly solo guitar, two electroacoustic pieces.
Cool. Nice. Awesome. Okay, well, let's listen to Shadow Prism. And I also just have to say, sorry, I know I keep talking, but I love this piece as well. I think that Jason, it's actually legitimately amazing what Jason achieved here as someone who doesn't play guitar, because the way he uses the guitar is just, it's so ingenious. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, all the
With
tech.
everything writing for guitar lately too, because he did that really massive double guitar orchestra piece back at the conference last year,
Hmm.
and the way that he can use electric guitars, electronics, and classical guitars it was really really cool.
Yeah, for sure. But just like, I don't know, to use the scordatura the way he did, the Petrushka chord, to use the harmonics and the sweeps the way he did. I mean, I know he had Steve's help, but it's still just amazing to me that
Yep,
this is like one of the first guitar pieces he wrote. Anyhow, let's listen to Shadow Prism.
let's do it.
Very nice. Oh, somehow Zoom is doing something weird. One moment, everybody. The Zoom window is showing. Oh wait, there we go. Ben's back. Hey.
Oh.
Sorry. Gary Diamond says, Ben, turn up your volume just a touch. You still lower the Michael. Thank you, Gary. I turned Ben up in the mix, so let me know if it sounds balanced now. Should be better now. Very nice playing. Very good job.
Thank you. Yeah, I love this piece. I love playing it.
Yeah. It's again, it's nice to hear. And this is, you sent me a video of this a while back of you playing it, but this is a different video, so it's nice even to hear how your interpretation has changed.
Exactly. And it's going to sound different even in a couple of months from now, and then a year from now, 2 years from now. That's the thing with this piece. It's only going to mature and develop into something even different.
Yeah, I performed it a bunch last year. I did it in my final exam of the first year of the Masters, and then I also did it in some other concerts, and then I did it on tour in the fall. And then I haven't really played it much this year, like not as much. So I've kind of been on a break, and I think when I relearn it, it's going to be nice to hear how it evolved, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we'll see. Probably come up with some new ideas. Maybe steal some from you. We'll see.
We'll see.
Awesome. Okay, so you already gave like a pretty good overview of your projects. What does it involve to start a guitar society? What has this process been like for you? And you have a conspirator, right? You have someone partner in crime.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, despite being like the founder and president of a classical guitar organization, I'm not going to go out and say that it's a one-man show because I've had a lot of enormous help from not just my parents, not just the people in the music school, but also my partner in crime, basically like my brother nowadays, Steve Murphy. And I assigned him to be the artistic director because, well, one, we went from colleagues to being really good friends to like working with each other on a very regular basis. And so like we have a really similar artistic vision. We really agree on a lot of the same things. And for the most part, it's all about community first. And so that's exactly what I'm looking for in somebody that can really help appreciate and really connect with people, somebody that's very social, very relatable, and he's very smart person too. So like I really like working with him, and he's been really in charge of like ordering the concerts and assigning people to go with master classes. He had really good ideas for who to bring to the virtual guitar retreat. And as well as he's just been like a super chill as well too, super nice, and it's really great to work with him as well. And so that basically goes to answer the question now, what it involves to start a guitar society. And I think the very first thing is the community, really, because for the longest time, obviously till 2020, there was no real actual guitar society, like I might have said earlier, here in Newfoundland. But that's not to say that there was no actual talent or even playing or interest. And so really what we had to do was find the ways that we could possibly just let everybody know that we're going to do this now. This is how we're going to do this, and we're welcoming anybody. Basically our motto is providing memorable classical guitar experiences to all ages. And so what we're also really focusing on is really having like a lot of different kinds of topics to bring to the table, like a non-competitive friendly atmosphere. That's something that we're focusing on after the retreat, is really getting the community aspect going, like a regular peer performance meetup, like those kinds of things. Yeah, just basically really about the appreciation and that's the love for the instrument too, and that can happen with anybody at any age. And so other than that, a couple mechanical things. I do love having a Google Drive account for this because I have everything there that I get to make. I get to make the programs and all the handbooks, and I get to take notes. And so other than that, it's also really nice to be really integrated in your community as well too, because I've been able to have a lot of fortunate meetings with the facilities I used. We got to have this in the church that I used to very regularly attend back throughout my development as a child, and so they actually had us in for our guitar festival in March for free, which was
nice.
really good as well.
That's
and so
awesome.
obviously the other side of the coin is we asked our audience to bring a non-perishable food item, but then a day before is when COVID really started to get happening. So luckily we got to have it, but in a capacity of 25 people. So we never really got to promise a large donation, but they were very, very generous to give us the space for free that day. And so we also got to have master classes in that room as well. And other than that, a couple of tools, I guess. It was really helpful to have the experience of going to other festivals, such as Guitar La Grande, which is a very big festival here in Canada. I think that's kind of how I modeled the Guitar on the Coast, which is what that festival was called. It's a very cliche name, like, literally Guitar on the Coast, because we're here in the East Coast. And so like we really modeled it around the concerts being towards the end, like a social event. We had like a little pizza lunch supplied by my parents. Thank you. And so yeah, so we get to really consider all these things. The couple of the skills that I learned throughout this have really been about like technology. I've developed my social media skills as well, because not only do I manage the Facebook and Instagram platforms for this Guitar Society, but I also do the 21st Century Guitar Conference. I do my own Instagram as well, which I'm really focusing on developing. And so it's a matter of finding ways, different creative posts, and just making sure that as many people know about this as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts, I guess. Yeah, I really think that like the guitar community would not exist without societies, or not just guitar societies, sorry, but like community events and community organizations.
Absolutely,
and people putting things together.
Because I would honestly argue that really like the only, I guess, a sort of community or ensembles or organizations or opportunities really have been really just basically the guitar studio at the university, which not everybody can get into right away. You have to be obviously older, and you have to have the proficiency and all the requirements to get into music school. And our Kiwanis Festival, which I'm sure you're familiar with as well, because you did on the West Coast as well. And so that's something I did and I had a really, really great experience with, but not everybody necessarily wants to do a competition either. So it's about finding something that's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and having, events where people can come who are enthusiastic about guitar, no matter what capacity they want to play in or whatever.
Yeah.
Anya Gowan says, wonderful. I think she's referring to your performance.
Thank you.
On YouTube.
I'm looking forward to the finish of your Sonata Terra, by the way. I love that recording that Daniel Ramjatan did of the second movement of that piece, and I'm looking forward to hearing everything else that's coming next.
Yeah, is it, maybe it's on his new CD, is that right?
Probably will be, yeah, because he's doing more Canadian music as well.
Yeah, but I think that Sonata's on the CD. Maybe, Anya, if you're listening, you can tell us if you know if your Sonata is on Daniel's CD. But I do want to hear the whole thing, because the second movement sounded wonderful. Yeah. And Tim B says, hey guys, looking good, gents. Thanks, Tim. We miss you.
You're looking good, Tim.
Yes, Tim's looking good. I'm sure he's looking good no matter what he looks like right now. Maybe he can post a selfie in the chat. Just to show us what his quarantine haircut is at, what stage it's at now. Cool. Okay. Well, I mean, that's a lot of work starting a society, but that's awesome that you're doing it. And it is really important to have people who you like to work with.
Definitely.
It's maybe something they don't teach you in the conservatory, but it pays to be someone that's easy to work with and fun to work with, because people
really reminds me. Yeah, exactly. Like at the National Music Festival last year, we had like a career talk with a guy named Mark. I'll get his last name later, but yeah, so far he's Mark. But yeah, and so he was really big on, like, he actually looked at us like very serious, and he said, like, if you're not nice, then nobody wants to work with you. Like, he manages the Saskatoon Symphony Orchestra, and like he's had soloists that are incredible virtuosos, but if they're not like manageable and easy to work with and have like,
they're not going to get invited back. Yeah, that's the thing.
No, they're done.
Yeah. The problem is there's a surplus of talent. So if you're not nice to work with, I mean, you don't have to be like a total like pushover or whatever, right? Like you still have to like get what you need to negotiate well and everything, but
prepare your performance.
Yeah, if people don't like to work with you and don't like hanging out with you, then they're just gonna pick the next person who's just as capable but is more fun to hang out with and more nice to work with.
Yeah, because not only is it somebody that's nice to work with, but somebody that you really get off with as well, somebody you really click with. Because like when you have that kind of like that like siblinghood, almost like really good best friend relationship, that it gets everything done even faster and even better.
Yeah, and I mean, you don't have to be everybody's best friend, but you just have to you have to be someone that people want around. That's the thing.
That's like, Canadians. Yeah,
Canadians. Everyone's got to be your best friend. You can't tell if they really want to or not, if they're just doing it out of politeness. Oh man, trust me, moving to the Netherlands is very different here. It's very direct. Nice. Which I actually like, but yeah, it's different. It's very different.
Yeah.
Anyhow, cool. Okay, well, that sounds like you guys are up to some awesome stuff. So I'm excited to see what comes in future years from the society. And yeah, I mean, I think everyone should work towards like bringing the classical guitar to their community. Because we all think this instrument is awesome. That's the thing.
Yeah, we love this. We have beautiful repertoire. It's I think it's going to go in really good directions.
Mm-hmm, for sure. And there's a lot to share with people already, and a lot of people just aren't aware of it. I mean, we just don't have like the mass media behind us in terms of like music media. I mean, like even within the classical world, we're not really being pushed by any large organizations, so we kind of have to push it ourselves, I think.
Hmm.
Which actually I think is part of the reason that a lot of us play contemporary music is because we can get away with it because we're pushing it ourselves so we can really sell it, you know?
Right, and that's kind of like our segue into working with other classical musicians as well, because obviously not only are we collaborating with composers, but there's also chamber music settings and anything like that, anything between.
Okay. Oh, Anya saying, I'm not aware of Daniel currently recording any of my music. No, we'll have an update on the Sonata Terra this summer. Ah, cool. Okay. I might have just been mistaken.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, I was too.
yeah, but we're all looking forward to the Sonata. Um,
Definitely.
that's for sure. Uh, anyhow, sorry, you were saying something about, oh, collaborating with other musicians. Yes. Yeah, like I think we and I think that other musicians like to work with guitar because we're quite portable and we're a little bit exotic for most classical
Chill.
musicians, you know.
Yeah,
Chill,
exactly.
chill also, yes, chill for sure. So yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, chamber music is a big part of any classical guitarist development, I
awesome.
think. Probably should be anyways.
Hmm.
All right, Ben, let us move on to, oh yes, the gotcha question. How do you define classical guitar?
Well, um, yeah. So first of all, I think Emily Shaw had the best definition for this because she's a loser. She's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
here's your
exactly.
legs, your head, and the body." And so like, boom.
Yeah, it's like, thanks, Emily. Now we know.
Yeah, I think Stephen Lockbaum also had a really good answer. It's just like a guitar that plays classical music. Done.
Yeah.
It's so that's when all the vagueness and all of
But then
the
you have
indirect.
to ask, like, is someone playing, like, I don't know, a weird, like, cover of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata on steel string guitar? Is that then classical guitar?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, I guess it's a matter of
Was
to me.
like one of those YouTube multiple tracks videos where it's like,
I know
you know?
it's like all the virtual, I guess like little ensemble things, and it's like a virtual classical guitar ensemble then.
I
But
mean,
it's
maybe that's classical guitar on a steel string. I don't know. Like, but yeah, anyhow.
yeah, but I'm gonna try and take a different angle on the question. This could easily crash and burn, but we look at what we do as a profession, and so I think that we could maybe take the angle of looking at it like a verb rather than a noun, because we think of it as like the object itself and the pieces themselves. But I think that what we do, it comes down to basically like we study, we write for, and we perform classical guitar, I think that kind of defines classical guitar as like an action, I guess, because I think that well, obviously there's many different things you can do with classical guitar. There's luthiers, there's composers, there's historians, musicologists, theorists, performers, everything else in between. But I guess it's the study and performance, I guess, of classical guitar in different settings, because there's obviously not just solo settings. There's chamber music. There's everything else in
Mm.
between, but. That's just kind of like where I would probably go with it. I mean, I probably already crashed the gotcha question
I'm just
already.
curious how you like how then you define any parameters around that if it's like an action, right? Because I mean, one of the ways to try to solve the definition of classical guitar is to talk about technique, right? Like the fact that,
Yeah.
oh my god, my cat is scratching the wall. It's not your scratching post, Nehru. That's the wall. Okay.
I'm one
Anyways.
of the few people on this show that doesn't deal with cats.
Yeah. Oh, there's no
It's
cats on your end. Oh, so sad.
no.
Sorry, I'm totally distracted by my cat. Um, yeah, like to talk about technique is one way to define it, right? You can say like,
Definitely.
well, it's with nails, or not with nails, but with specific kind of right hand position and the sitting position and
And
sort
there's
of
different kinds of right hand positions and sitting positions.
right. But then it's like maybe it's contrapuntal music on guitar. Some people say
Yeah.
that, which also makes a bit of sense.
Hmm.
But by verb, do you mean that kind of thing, or do you mean like the act of all the different parts of our lives, like, you know?
I would think that because we teach as well, and we collaborate, we do different kinds of things, we study, we perform like that, like the professional setting, I guess,
Okay,
of art music in a classical means.
interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's a new one. I haven't heard that before, but it makes sense.
Yeah, because I think it really tries to knock out a lot of like the what ifs.
Yes, but it also leaves it a little bit vague then too, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good angle to look at. I mean, yeah, I don't think anyone when they first get into it kind of realize all the different things they're gonna do with it. I mean,
Exactly.
and I think for some people it kind of burns them out. And I think also there's also this unhealthy expectation that you're going to do all those things equally well as everybody else or equally as much, you know?
Yep.
And like probably we have to have less expectation about like How much are you going to perform? Are you going to run a society, or are you going to do that and perform? Are you going to yeah, are you going to compose? Are you going to record or not at all? Or, like,
Yeah. Are you gonna play in a duo or a trio?
yeah, or are you going to end up playing almost all chamber music or all solo, or, I don't know.
Hmm.
It's sort of unrealistic to expect everyone to have the same kind of path and do each of those things just as much as each other.
Hmm.
Probably also not healthy or realistic. It's just, yeah.
Right.
Anyhow, cool. Okay, well, that's a good aspect of classical guitar to focus on. And now I'm going to drill you with repertoire listening test questions.
Uh-oh. I
Uh-oh,
better.
rut-row. All right. Adam Chickaliti says, hi, Ben. Hi, Mike. Hi, friends. Hi,
Hey, Uncle Adam.
Adam. It's so nice to see so
Lovely.
many friends here.
It is.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, let's listen to some tunes, and you are going to guess the piece, the composer, and the player. So there's 3 points per recording that you can get. All right, and so for the audience watching, if they aren't familiar with this, Ben is going to try to guess these pieces, and we're going to make fun of him when he doesn't get it, and we're going to celebrate with him when he does. And you guys can feel free to play along and try and guess in the comments. I'll give some hints because this is kind
I
of,
get one lifeline, right?
yeah, and you have a lifeline, so you can ask the audience for help on one piece. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be too hard on you because, like, well, I usually give hints for each piece because, I don't know, in school when you get a listening test, they give you the pieces ahead of time to listen to. I'm not even that kind. It's the entire guitar catalog. So, but I try to pick things based a little bit on what I know the player has been exposed to or what they know. Okay. We're going to start with some beginner category. So things that shouldn't be too hard. Here you go.
Yeah, so it's Villa Lobos Etude number 3.
Correct.
And I'm trying to get the player.
In the meantime, Adam Chickaliti is saying, Ben, have you been working out and what are you drinking?
Yes, and beer. Because our gym recently opened like 3 or so weeks ago. We're doing super well with COVID here. And if we weren't, I probably wouldn't be going, but
Nice.
Yeah, we are. But,
And what kind of beer is it?
it's a Sleeman, I think it's a honey brown. It's great. It's a little sipping beer for the show. But darn, who's this player? Do I know this?
I can give you a hint. It's a Canadian player.
Oh. Is it Jeff McFadden?
Not Jeff McFadden. I'll give you 2 more guesses.
Okay.
I'm not going to give you more hints because I feel like
I don't need any more hints than that. Yeah,
Canadian already really narrowed it down.
Yeah, it definitely did. Ellie Kasner isn't really Canadian, is he?
He is Canadian.
Okay, but
it's not Eli Kasner, no.
Okay.
Or Ellie. Is it Ellie or Eli? I should know that. I don't know.
Right.
Any idea?
Maybe it's Daniel Bolshoi.
Not Daniel Bolshoi, it's Norbert Kraft.
Oh.
Emma Rush. Sorry.
He has all of these etudes. Yeah, I could have totally missed that.
He has a whole CD of Villa Bush. Emma Rush says, "Oh great, I've tuned in just in time to not know any rep." Also, hi guys.
Hey Emma.
Hey Emma. Yeah, indeed. Okay, so Norbert Kraft. Okay, but you still got 2 out of 3. That's pretty good.
Cool.
I have to say, I'm impressed. Okay, next one. You ready? You want to hear a later section?
Sure.
Any idea?
It sounds very 20th century.
It is. Like, you're in the right century.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And it's obviously there's tremolo in there. And
yes.
Right. It sounds like a Smallman guitar. So
It
that's
is a
kind of
Smallman. Oh my gosh, Ben, you're
yeah.
getting
That's the only guitar I can. It's like I know it's a Smallman or it's not a Smallman.
right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Trying to think about like players.
Well, the composer. Okay,
So
so the composer's a Polish composer.
oh goodness. Yeah. It's not Tansman.
It is Tansman.
Tansman. It's Tansman. Yeah. So that's one thing. And
The piece
I
or
think
the
I'm
player.
getting more ideas. Can I have a hint about the player? Because then I might get
The player
piece.
is a French player.
Okay, so it's
French player plays a Smallman. Imagine that.
I know. There's literally two that are coming right up to my mind. Is it Gabriel?
No, it's not Gabriel Bianco.
Thomas.
But right, like age range. You're in the right age range. Yeah.
Thomas, I guess. You know
Yeah,
Thomas?
it's Thomas. It's Thomas.
And he's playing Cavatina.
Yes, Cavatina. You got it. Very good.
Yeah.
Julek Warsawski is putting the Polish flag in the chat. Yes, Julek, represent.
Cool. Love that.
Ross Chesson says one of two guys recording on a Smallman. Well, Judicael, Gabriel, and Thomas all record on Smallmans, right?
Definitely, yeah. And then there's like John Williams and
John Williams, yes. Who else records on a Smallman? I should know more.
Right.
Oh, does Augustin Pesnon have a Smallman or no? Am I crazy? I feel like he does. The guy who runs the Paris Guitar Foundation?
yeah. I feel like Jeremy Jouvet did it maybe at some point.
Yes. I don't think his GFA CD is on a Smallman, but I think he did have one at some point. Anyways. Julek is saying Piotr... that's an unpronounceable Polish word. You're gonna have to like send a voice message to me of how to pronounce that. I'm sorry. Piotr Bora? Bora? I'm sorry, Julek. Okay, but I guess this guy this Piotr guy must record on a Smallman too. If Julek is putting his name.
Probably.
Yes. Okay. Anyhow. So 3 out of 3 on that one. Nice. Tansman, Cavatina, Toma Velito. Okay, last one in the beginner category. Sorry?
En Los Triangles by Rodrigo. I just know that.
Trigales, yes.
This it was so like it sounds like an old recording. I don't want to just blast Segovia.
It's not Segovia, but it is an older recording.
Oh, it's
Huh?
It's Bream.
It's Bream, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's from his his Spanish classics record.
It's actually this CD. It's on this CD called "The Art of Julian Bream," but this looks like a compilation CD.
Yeah, that's one of those.
So it's probably from the Spanish music CD, one of the Spanish music CDs.
Yeah.
I have the Julian Bream box set in my living room, so
Cool.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of Julian Bream records here as well, vinyl.
Yeah. Ross Chiason says, "Ha, okay, lots of great Smallman players out there." Yes, Ross, you're a luthier. You should know.
And lots of great Ross Chiason players here in this chat today.
Exactly. And Ross is going to come on the show next month, later in the month.
Awesome.
I have to set the date still. Everyone, I have to confess something. I'm very behind on setting the dates for August, so I will announce them soon. But yeah, I mean the beginning of August, like Taiwo's episode is already like planned, but shame. Okay, so 3 out of 3 on that one. Bream playing Rodrigo. It's kind of easy to tell that sound.
Yeah, that theme is like that.
Okay, so I have to admit that the intermediate and advanced categories, I'm like a little bit more lost on like exactly which fits into which. So the next 6 are just kind of all like, I don't know, a bit harder. Okay, next one. I have a feeling you know this one.
Yeah, that's Andrew Stanland's electroacoustic piece, Dreaded Sea Voyage. But I need a little bit more guitar because I know 2 people that play this.
Okay, what's the movement title?
Oh man, it's obviously Dreaded Sea Voyage, but Stephen Hawking says we must flee Earth.
Yes, Stephen Hawking says we must flee Earth. This is the best title
That's
for.
the only title I know. I just went for it.
The best title for any like contemporary piece ever.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Okay, I'll play some more. Sorry. What?
I have a feeling it's probably Uncle Steve.
It is Steve Cowan. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like the font is so sticky. It's
Yeah.
so cool.
And which CD is it on?
Poor guitar.
Yeah, poor guitar.
Playing a Bruno Boutin.
Yeah. Hannah says, ha ha ha. Sorry?
Do I get 5 points?
You get so many points, Ben. You have all the points in my eyes. Don't worry. Hannah says Ben is so good at this game. It's true. Although to be fair, I just play. I put like Canadian players and music on the thing, so it's
Right.
like we all know Ben is like totally aware of all the Canadian stuff. Okay,
Oh,
next one. Sorry?
I think I have an idea.
What is it?
It's one of the Tedesco well-tempered guitars.
Yes. One of the...
Prelude and Fugues.
Yes. Is it a prelude or a fugue?
It's a fugue.
Yes.
Because I just heard like subject, recapitulation.
Yeah.
It's is it solo duo?
It's not solo duo. And also you're going to have to name the key. Or the number, one of the two.
Okay. I guess I'm gonna have to use my trick card here. It's in E major.
It's in E major. How did you know? Oh, do you have perfect pitch?
Maybe.
Maybe. Oh, snap. What?
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, that's. I mean, to be fair, if it was somebody else, would you take points off if they didn't get the key?
No, I'm mostly impressed that you have perfect pitch.
Okay.
Even
I
though
mean, for a lot of contemporary music, it's not like a necessary tool or anything, but it definitely has served me very well in memorization and stuff like that. But yeah, hey, I'm perfect pitch. I do CrossFit, all these things.
Yeah. Adam is saying, name the key. You're evil, Mike. Well, apparently not. Apparently that's like an easy thing for Ben. So I thought I was being evil. But...
I had to got you back for doing that. So.
And Adam is also guessing solo duo. Not correct. And Hannah is guessing the Brazil duo. It's not them. So who is this? Do you want to hear some more?
Can I have a hint for the duo?
No, I think not solo duo and not Brazil duo is already enough of a hint.
Okay. Is it
Sorry?
Is it like Lagoya and Presti duo?
No.
No.
Do you want to hear some more?
Sure. Is it like a famous duo? Probably.
You should definitely know this duo.
Assad duo or
Nope.
Man.
One more guess. One more guess.
One more guess. Yeah. Mikey making guesses today.
Yeah.
Oh, Henderson Kolk?
Yes. Oh
yes.
Gosh.
I was just like I just had to use the Canadian
on your last chance. Okay, 3 out of 3. You're too good at this game, Ben. Okay.
Yay.
Next one. Sorry. One more time.
This is a good one. It's one of the movements from Triella.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know if you'd get this one.
My friend Ben Borg plays this, so I was just
yeah.
as well as I know of 2 recordings of this. Actually, no, I know of 3. Can I hear some more?
Yeah.
Just because I got the piece. It's so serious.
Any idea?
It's not Sylvie, is it?
No.
Okay, because that's on one of her CDs. Is it Elena Papandreou?
Yeah, Elena Papandreou.
Yeah, because it didn't sound like a small one because Thomas did this on his GFA CD.
Yeah.
I didn't think he'd put him twice, so I was just like, it's Elena.
Yeah, and Thomas's interpretation is a lot more understated, I would say. Not so extroverted. Mm-hmm. Not so aggressive, yeah.
Raphael in the last movement.
Yeah, I mean I love how both of them play it, but it's just very different. Fernando Hernandez says, "Oh my God, Ben, that is impressive, indeed." I shouldn't have given. I remember that a while ago you guessed one of these On one of the other shows, you guessed one of Elena's Dien's recordings, so I shouldn't have
Yeah,
like.
that whole CD is just like there. So
Uh Darn, I picked something too easy. Okay, 3 out of 3. Roland Dien's Triella. Oh, but which movement is this?
the second one, it's Black Horn when Spain meets jazz.
Correct. Very good. Okay. Next one.
I also know the piece and the composer, but I'm trying to figure out the player.
Okay.
It's a Sir Scott Sonatina last movement, but
Yeah.
oh, because is it Michael Kolk?
It's Michael Kolk. Oh my gosh.
Nice. 'Cause I noticed all the reverb, so it's just like this must be Drew's video.
This is not a video actually. He has a new CD that I think was.
Oh hell yeah, yeah! That the 20th Century Sonatas. I've listened to
Yes,
that
I haven't actually
before.
listened to it yet, but I came across it while planning for today's
Michael
show.
might honestly be in the chat, so like big applause. That's a great CD.
Yeah, I need to listen to it properly now that I've heard this recording. I really love Steve's recording of this piece, but
It is, yeah.
of course, Michael
It's
plays
a
it
good piece
great.
for him.
Yes. Okay, 3 out of 3. Michael Kolk playing Sonatina by Cyril Scott. Super cool piece. It's definitely on my wish list to play soon.
Yeah, it's underrated, underrepresented.
Okay, next one. Any idea?
Yeah, it's one of the Emilia Giuliani preludes.
Yes.
I know Emily Shaw recorded all of them. Is it her recording?
It is Emily's recording, yes.
Okay, so that's all of them.
I
Again.
don't think she recorded all of them, but I think there's
No, I think it's actually no, it's 3.
3 of them on her CD. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Great CD by Emily Shaw, Vespers.
Yep.
Okay. Wow, this is just too easy for you. I shouldn't have picked things that you would, that are relevant to you. I should have just gone with like totally random stuff.
These are some of the easier ones on these respective CDs as well.
Really? I don't know.
I feel like, except for maybe the Triella, that was a bit of a surprise for me too.
Maybe, yeah.
I have a guess, but question: how many questions are left? Because
This is the last one, so you should use your
Oh,
lifeline.
lifeline. Go.
People help, but you can also still guess.
Yeah, I have a feeling it sounds like Takamitsu, but
It's not Takamitsu. Can anyone help Ben out here? I'll play another later section of it. But you can also keep guessing, Ben. Sorry?
it's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really like heavy. It doesn't really have like an obvious nationality to it.
Nope.
Um,
Just like the country it's from.
oh, that might reveal a lot. Than if it's a Canadian piece.
Yes, it's a Canadian piece.
Okay. Just like the country it's from. There it is.
Yeah, sorry, I just am going to be totally honest here. After living in Western Europe for a while, you realize what it's like to actually have a long
I have a
history.
guess. Is it from the Jacques Hetu suite?
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
Correct.
Okay.
Jacques
And
Hetu.
I know of a really, really amazing recording of this. I guess I can just keep guessing since this is my lifelong life.
Line, yes.
Yeah. Is it Jerome Ducharme?
It's not Jerome Ducharme. Come on, this tone is too like thick and juicy to be Jerome Ducharme. Not that that's anything against Jerome Ducharme, but he just has a brighter tone.
Oh, dude. It's Nathan Bredesen.
It's Nathan Bredesen. Yes. How could
Yeah,
you tell?
because you said thick and juicy tone.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you're like, oh, must be Nathan.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed.
Wow.
Um, yes. All right. Well, Ben, you only lost 1 point on the very first
Norbert
piece.
Kraft. I'm gonna go listen to Norbert Kraft now.
Yeah, it was only the Norbert Kraft that got you. Everything else, I don't know.
Wow. Okay.
Amazing. All right. Let's listen to some more of your playing now. Do you want to do
Sure.
this Dale Kavanagh prelude, or should we do Prime
Comments.
Directive? What do you want to do?
Um, how about some? I don't know. Whichever one. I guess
Okay.
the Dale Kavanagh.
Yeah, let's do that. Another more Canadian content.
Yeah, I think most of them are.
Yep. Do you want to say anything about this prelude?
Sure. Yeah, I probably should because I'm gonna play it and I'm gonna record it and stuff like that. Yeah. So, this prelude here is part of three preludes. These pieces really spoke to me. I came across them honestly from like a YouTube autoplay system, and yeah, there's really a lot of really cool characters going on throughout all of these three preludes. I recommend them to basically anybody to play. And the second prelude here is called "Gently Flowing." And this recording, this video specifically, is from a competition, but I felt like it was a really good take that I just wanted to like make into a video as well. Good for Instagram TV. But I'm really hoping to program all three of these preludes next year as well in my recital.
Cool.
It's not only just one Canadian piece to have in my recital, but I'll probably have two in there as well. So that's another feature of my programming. But yeah, we're going to hear Dale. She might even be playing these all three of them at the virtual guitar retreat, which I'm really excited about.
Cool.
And I hope you
Awesome.
enjoy my recording. It's going to be the first track on my upcoming CD.
Nice. A prelude. Smart. Yes.
Yeah, who would have thought? Me and Emily.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Dale Kavanagh prelude.
Thanks.
Gorgeous.
Thanks.
I went to get a drink, so I only heard the last chord, but I'm sure the rest was, I'm sure the whole thing was just as beautiful as the last chord.
Oh, yay.
um, Wonderful, nice. Yeah, Dale's music is really cool. Actually,
It is.
she was the first classical guitar concert I ever went to, which was amazing.
Really?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
hers and Thomas were like a month apart. The Classical Guitar Society of Calgary put them on, and I started guitar and classical guitar super late in my
Right.
life.
And
Um,
Yeah, exactly. And she basically came to the retreat because she knows Steve Murphy very well because Steve did his studies at Acadia, where Eugene Cormier teaches.
Oh, okay.
And Amadeus Guitar Duo, they're artists in residence there, so they're working there very regularly. And so Steve, I think they all actually were touched, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I remember you." And like, so they were really, they were really close. And this, that's how basically we're getting Amadeus Guitar Duo to work with us too. That's really really awesome.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, she's great. I mean, I just remember her concert was amazing. She was very gracious and kind afterwards, and it was really cool because she played the Brouwer Etudes, the first six, and I had just learned two or three of those because I was sort of just starting out on classical guitar, and it was kind of really nice to hear like a high level concert player play those pieces really well in a concert when you're just learning them as a student, you know.
Yeah, that's like even like every now and then, like when I would see Steve, he'd program the BWV 996 Allemande, and that's what I did for an RCM exam in high school. So I was just like, wow, listen how good it sounds.
Yeah, and it's also nice to hear that, you know, you can play the same pieces you're playing now, but at a much higher level later.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Even like all the Villa-Lobos preludes in the
yeah,
Brouwer especially.
yeah. I was telling you, I'm relearning Capriccio Árabe, which is actually a real joy after 2 years of master's repertoire.
Definitely,
It's like so
yeah.
relaxing to play. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Fernando Hernandez says, "Yeah, I love that prelude." Carson Frulich says, "Sounds great, Ben." Indeed.
Oh, thanks, Carson. Good to hear from you. Really great
Um,
concert as well back in I think the end of June, by the way.
Awesome. Oh, one other thing that I realized while I was off getting my drink is that we should mention, instead of normal donations for the artist, Ben is collecting donations for the Atlantic Guitar Society because they are contributing to a fund for scholarships for undergraduate students at MUN, the school there in St. John's, right? So
That's
if you want to support young guitarists being able to get their education, this is the way to do it. You want to talk more about that?
everything.
That
Uh,
collab?
oh, I should probably talk more. And so basically, not only today's streams, but also all of the concert fees from the virtual guitar retreat, they're going to go towards the first entrance guitar scholarship for an undergraduate student at Memorial University, and that's going to go towards like obviously the tuition, and obviously as well as things like books, scores, you name it.
Yeah, awesome. And as usual, link in the description for links to the Atlantic Guitar Society page because the virtual guitar retreat is being run through the society. Actually, we haven't touched on that yet. What are the dates and what are all the events happening for the guitar retreat?
Oh, yeah, so August 3rd to 8th, there's a lot more details about the events on the Facebook page in particular. But yeah, so we're going to have a week long, in the evenings here in Newfoundland at least, and it's going to consist of workshops, masterclasses, concerts as well. So each day layout is going to start with a different kind of luthier demonstration from Emily Shaw. She's doing a lot of really fantastic work for this retreat. She's going to be doing different topics of demonstration for each day. And then after those topics, we're going to go right into the concert. And we have on Monday we have Eugene Cormier and Derek Chark, the Chark Cormier duo of flute and guitar, and then followed by that is going to be Eugene Cormier's masterclass, and he's also going to give a presentation about a topic. So basically, every day is workshop, concert, presentation, masterclass. And so it's Derek Chark and Eugene Cormier on Monday, Amadeus Guitar Duo on Tuesday, Jeffrey McFadden Wednesday, Thursday is David Jacques, the guitar historian, and yeah, I should also mention that Jeffrey McFadden is based out of University of Toronto, and he has I think his new CD of Bach cello suite arrangements is out now.
Right. Yes, he posted about some review of that to Nexo CD, right?
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, so
Cool.
we're probably going to hear some music from that, which I'm really looking forward to. And then the following day is David Jacques, who is based out of Montreal. I got to see his historical demonstrations twice, once at Alegrande, next at Domaine Forget. And this time I'll probably understand more because I do have a little tiny bit of French, but not enough for an entire lecture. So I'm looking forward to hearing a lot of the talk as well. But what he does with his historical research and his performance practice is really tremendous. Really great work, and we're looking forward to hearing that as well too. Because any sort of historical topic is great, considering the focus of the event has really been about education and outreach. And then following the last day, the 7th, I believe, is the Friday, is Emily Shaw's concert. And so she's going to prelude, obviously, with another luthier workshop, and then she's going to give a concert. Her concert's looking fantastic as well. Lots of Canadian repertoire. Music by like Nathan Bredesen, John Armstrong, Christina Volpini, as well as an arrangement by Justin Holland, who I believe is one of the earlier African-American composers and arrangers as well, too. And then followed by that is her masterclass. And then on Saturday, we're going to do a very brief... I feel like this is something we're probably going to do, is we're going to take the masterclass videos and just compile them in like a little... like pure performance, pure like celebration of the participants as well too, because the videos are really coming out really outstanding. And the participants as well, I should also mention, They're majorly from our Guitar Society and other towns in Newfoundland. We have probably close to 10 different towns represented in this whole province, which is really fantastic. That's a long-term goal that we're crushing right away. And we also have representation from Hamilton, other Ontario towns, and Halifax. So we have quite a large range of backgrounds and ages and skill levels of participants as well, too.
Awesome. And sorry, just which of Nathan's pieces is Emily playing?
I, th- I think it's not the Ghosts, because that's Armstrong.
Is it one of his earlier? There's like this earlier work of his that he played on Daniel's stream that I'm trying to remember. I think it must be that one.
A few movements.
It's got a few movements. Dream Suite. Is it called the Dream Suite?
Suite,
Yes,
yeah.
the Dream Suite. Okay, yes, right.
Craig and Emily are probably in the YouTube chat. They'll probably be able to tell us.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, Emily, if you're there, please tell us. I'm trying to figure that out. I think she told me it was the Dream Suite that she's learning. Actually, she did tell me that. Okay, now I feel embarrassed. Anyhow, that's an amazing lineup and super cool set of events.
Exactly. And
That's
we're
awesome.
very, very happy also that none of this would be possible. We wouldn't be able to get one of these players if it wasn't for an amazing amount of grant funding from the Music NL Press On program. So that was a program that we
Cool.
applied for back in May. And so basically, yeah, all of our fees are going towards the artists. Given the fact that we are a nonprofit organization, we are making sure that like our registration fees, our concert fees, and all of that goes rightfully where it should.
And to the concert ticket sales are going to the scholarship, right? So
that's correct. Yeah.
yeah, awesome. Cool. So people who are taking part will also be able to support amazing organizations and initiatives in your area.
Yep.
Awesome. Super cool. That's amazing.
And obviously, if anybody has any questions over on YouTube or Facebook or anything at all, you can just, feel free.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I should have said at the beginning of the show, please give us your questions.
If you have any questions about me and my recording or me and anyone else.
Or Ben's shirt or my shirt or...
There's no more repertoire.
No more repertoire questions. That's all. I've already asked too many. Awesome. Nice. Well, that's a super cool initiative, Ben. I am curious if you have something you could share with the audience about practicing. What do you find is useful for you right now with practicing? What are your
Cool.
pearls of wisdom?
At like 4 o'clock, I was like, oh yeah, by the way, do you have a practice tip? But I was just like, oh no, which one? But I remembered this really good one that I learned from our professor of woodwinds at the Memorial University School of Music. Her name is Dr. Christine Carter, and she did her doctoral research at Manhattan School of Music about really like performance and practice psychology. And so this was something that really comes up about randomized practice versus blocked practice, and that's a comparison that she learned from observing athletics. And so very specifically baseball pitchers, they have their curve balls, fast balls, other balls, screw balls. And so what they'll do rather than practice is, say if it's a 40-minute practice session, they're not going to do 15 minutes of fastballs in a row, 15 minutes of curve balls in a row, 15 minutes of screw balls in a row. They're going to do like 3 minutes fast, 3 minutes curve, 3 minutes curve. They're going to really mix up these 3 different types of throws. So that way it actually engages more brain activity. You have less time to get more focused, basically. And so if it's a 45-minute practice session, if we're doing like Bach, Koshkin, Rodrigo, just to name 3 composers, if you're working on like one excerpt, you don't want to just spend 15 minutes on this one passage. You can like spend like 3 minutes on this one passage, then go to your next piece and then do that for another like 3 minutes or even 5 minutes. Smaller, more randomized practice is basically a really good way that it's affected me, I think, in the last year or so, of learning music not just faster but more efficiently. But obviously, you don't want to just stay with this method, obviously, because there's multiple really good ways of practicing, especially when you're just learning a piece. You want to spend lots of time with your metronome, right in your fingerings, and as well as practicing in an extroverted way, which is something David Russell's really big on. So, like, practicing as if you're performing. So if you have a recital or something like that, it's 30 minutes. Run through that and then record it as well, too. But the randomized practice method's really good for learning music, I would say.
Yeah, but you can also use it. I mean, I totally agree. This is a really useful tool, and actually, it's one of the reasons I prefer, or I'm more productive. Not prefer. I am more productive in my practice when I have many different kinds of things to prepare for. So let's say I'm preparing to make a recording, which I'm doing now. I'm going to make some recordings soon with new mics I got. I'm preparing to record Nathan Sonata, for example. I have a chamber music concert coming up. I have repertoire that I'm learning. I have a piece that a composer sent me that I have to sort of help edit and like go through and like check that it all works and prepare for publication. You know, all these different projects means that you can randomize things more efficiently because you know that they're all sort of floating deadlines. But also, I have the experience that you can randomize it with different types of practice, like you're saying. Running through is an important thing. So like I'm preparing for an online competition. So Like today, I was like running through and timing all the rounds that I want to play later.
Mm.
But between those run throughs, I was doing detailed work on newer pieces or detailed work on passages that need work. But doing different kinds of practice throughout the day. Yeah, but it's a lot to keep in your mind. I don't know.
It is. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. And obviously, like, you don't want to practice the exact same passages every day for like a month. You want to maybe have like a different Tuesday than you did on Monday or something like that.
Yeah, it's a balance. I think it's a balancing act often between the passages that kind of need daily attention within your pieces, and the passages that maybe you need to touch on once or twice a week and really do focused work on for 10
Especially like if,
minutes.
for example, like you have a lesson and like all of your fingerings in this movement are changed, so you need to
Yeah.
like really just erase the fossilized habits of the previous of what you
Hmm.
had because this new fingering is working so much better. It's more musical, it's more flowing,
Hmm.
and it's more comfortable to play.
Yeah, but like for example, in preparing to record Nathan's sonata, there's some passages that are just really hard for finger independence, and I have to do a lot of slow work on them to make them really
Yeah, the
efficient.
Nathan Bredesen Sonata sounds crazy. Is that
It
really
it
really?
is you'll hear soon. Don't worry, the whole world will hear how crazy
Yeah.
it is and how much I'm struggling with it. No, I'm just kidding, but I'm struggling with it less now, which is why I waited to record it. But anyhow, the like those kind of passages, right? They kind of require, if not daily, every other day, they require some attention. Whereas there's other passages where I need to do focus work on once a week, but then I can leave them and then I can come back to them. And when I
Yeah,
play through,
exactly.
so it's just being smart about which things you give attention to, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really important, like scheduling and not scheduling all the time, but just being aware, like practicing in an aware way.
Have something that looks like a plan.
Yeah, exactly. Have something in your head that looks like a plan,
Yeah.
and don't obsess over one thing either, right? Like it's not healthy to sort of,
Of course.
yeah. And also our brain processes stuff after we do it, right? So
Mm. They
if
get
you
tired, they want to go check Facebook or something.
yeah, and like maybe the passage you've improved it 10%, but it's better to leave it at that point and move on to other passages and come back to it the next day when your brain's kind of processed that 10% really well, you know?
Mm.
Um,
Right.
yeah. Anyhow, super cool. Um, what is your current concert program, Ben? What do you? What's?
Right now, it's really revolving around my master's auditions, and that's obviously like a very big combination with my graduation recital as well. Next year, obviously because of the effects of COVID, I was really hoping to do the concerto competition, but I've decided to just not even try to do that, especially considering the limitations on working with like a collaborative pianist are probably going to go into the winter semester. So never mind, basically. But yeah, so I'm programming contrasting music for the first time in probably a couple months. But yeah, so I'm going to be using some music from my third year recital program, one piece from my second year, and a lot from my fourth year program in a basically a collection of 50 to 60 minutes of repertoire that I think really represents what I hope to present is at a master's level of playing, or maybe at the end of an undergraduate, so that I can get it accepted to the master's programs that I feel like really suit me and I think that are hopefully I can serve well in. And
And
so,
what is this? What is this set of contrasting repertoire?
yeah, specifically, right. So I've brought back Ligue des Parts by Napoleon Coste lately, especially my lessons with Thomas I've had all month, which have been really fantastic. So that's kind of like my romantic piece of choice. I did Elegy by Mertz this year, but I didn't really feel like it's contrasting enough, I'll say, with my Bach piece, the Chaconne.
Well,
And
also
so,
it's not that contrasting enough in and of itself, in my humble opinion.
yeah, same
But
here.
I like
Yeah,
the piece, but it's a bit like 8 minutes. Is it 8, 7, 8 minutes of the same thing?
yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. And I also just have a lot of really fond memories of playing the Depart as well. I did that at the Nationals, and like I've had
Hmm.
just a lot of. I just love that piece so much.
Yeah, I
Even though
used to play it too. I did it in my first masters in Vancouver.
yeah, exactly. Even though I'm a big new music junkie, like that piece always gets me. It's just like it's just so beautiful too. Like a
Plus,
lot
you
of
need a 19th century piece in your back pocket, like a
essentially, yeah,
virtuosic one. It's kind of important to have for the occasions when you kind of want it. You know.
yeah. Right, and so it's Cost, it's the Chaconne, which helped me,
Yeah.
and then as well as The Fall of Birds by Nikita Koshkin. I had a lesson on that today with Thomas actually,
Cool.
and that's it's my first Koshkin piece I've ever played, and yeah, so I picked it up. My teacher recommended it because my teacher spent lots of time with Vladimir Mikuka, And so she must have discovered that probably in concert even. And so that's a piece that she recommended to me. I think that the energetic, dramatic, and really serious nature of it is really something that's I like to listen for, and I like to try and maybe even project into my concert programs as well. So I'm really excited about that one. As well as moving on from there, I'm going to do the Shadow Prism, and I think that's going to be really effective for the Canadian schools that I'm going to be applying to, and the Diaz.
Cool.
And I
Great
think
program.
maybe I'm looking at another piece, maybe some Villa Lobo Tunes. I love playing number four randomly. Like, for some reason, like I just went right into number four, and I love that one as well as number five. I did both of those in a concert with the Online Music Guild back in May, and I think I'm gonna pick one more, either like 9 or 10 or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And what version of the Chaconne are you playing?
It's a mashup between my teachers, a little bit of Segovia, and a little bit of Patrick Roux as well, because my friend Ben Borg also played this in his master's grad recital at University of Ottawa. So he basically sent me his PDF, and I was just like, dude, thanks.
Awesome.
So yeah, because it really prioritizes legato and like a lot of campanella fingerings and a lot of loyalty to the violin score, which is really important as well, because I
Okay.
think that's a spec of Segovia's interpretation.
Yeah, it sounds like Carlo's version, which I just did in my master's. I actually am editing a video of it to put out there, but he kind of follows pretty carefully the bow markings of the violin. So
Yeah,
choosing slurs or campanella and or normal scales based on the articulations of the violin.
yeah, that's right. And that's
Um,
something I should look for as well, because I should keep my ears peeled for your recording of that, because I'm obviously applying for his studio as well too. So I
oh
should
yeah, but I mean, don't change the way you play it based on
no,
on
of course.
yeah, but
Because the thing with this piece is like there's so many different arrangements of it. Obviously, it's the same piece, but like we all find something that works for everybody. Like there's sometimes I'll look at scales and I'm just like, what the hell is this? Like I don't even want to look at those scale fingerings, because they're really jumpy or something like that. And like it depends on what you prioritize, and but within the boundaries and practice of Baroque interpretation.
yeah, I mean, if you choose to do scales that are totally contrary, you should be just aware of it, right? I mean, I think that fingering should be chosen for musical reasons and not technical ones, right? Um,
Especially in the arrangement too.
yeah, especially in an arrangement of something. And like if you say, okay, the bow markings here, I don't really like this legato bow marking, then at least you know and you come up with an intentional other thing. But what I like about Carlos' version and what I kind of like in an arrangement is something that tries to take the articulation and the sound and the spirit and the phrasing of the original instrument, and then makes the piece guitaristic in a way. So like he fills out a lot of harmonies and uses a lot of bigger chords where the violin score doesn't have that, because he's kind of like, well, we're playing on a guitar.
Well, because I think to me this piece really resembles a transition to the classical era. So there's actually moments where you may even be able to identify like a homophonic texture,
Yeah.
and so moments where like you double octaves and things like that. It just makes it so much more like full, I guess, something like that.
Yeah.
It really prioritizes like the melody versus the accompaniment that's
And
going
we're
on.
playing it on guitar, and when Bach would arrange his own pieces on for other instruments, he would make it suit the instrument in terms of texture, right?
Yeah, that's what
So
we do.
yeah, and so like Carlo does very effective things with the arpeggios, for example, which I think, yeah. So I think those things are all good. What I just don't like is when I hear like articulations that don't make any sense with how it sounds from the articulations that Bach put on the violin score. Because I think articulation is something that transcends instruments, right? Like it's not like guitar staccato should be any different than violin staccato.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. Oh, John Cesar says, have your submission just a playthrough of you playing along with his recording, full scholarship guaranteed. The thing is, Carlo doesn't give out scholarships, Ben. I'm sorry to say. It's the school that gives out the scholarships, not Carlo.
Really.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of places though.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, there's basically just one scholarship for international students, and, generally, anyways, whatever. But I mean, tuition here is a lot cheaper than North America. So, there's that. Even for an international student, it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, I love Europe. We're just gonna move on.
Just like it's like I have perfect pitch, we get it. You love Europe, we get it.
Yeah, I know. When I went back for my tour in September with Nathan, the whole time I was basically just like shit talking like North America and being like, "Man, it's so nice being in Europe." Blah blah. And at some point, he was like, "Man, like, you don't have to like."
Why'd you come here to Canada, dude?
To do this. I was just complaining. I was like, we have to be in the car all the time. There's no like fast trains between cities. Like, To be
Yeah.
fair, I mean, it's a lot harder to get across Canada, and like it
I
doesn't.
mean, to be fair, I have to take a plane in order to go anywhere, so
I know,
I
yeah, yeah,
relate to that. Yeah,
yeah. It's
like most, if like 99% of my like funds towards guitar festivals is me getting on a freaking plane
I
the
know
whole
that's
time.
part of the reason I moved, to be honest, because I was like I just couldn't. I don't know. It's really hard to get outside your own region in Canada as a musician without
Yeah,
breaking
'cause
the
it's
bank.
so big.
And if you get like a concert, even from like BC to Alberta, I remember my first time playing with an orchestra playing concerto. It was like the fee, the honorarium I was paid was like the same as my plane ticket. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
like
it was like it was a smaller community. I'm not complaining because it was a smaller community orchestra. It was amazing to have the opportunity, and it was like
fantastic.
not. It wasn't a terrible fee for me at the time where I was at, but it was just like one of those things where you're like, flying is so damn expensive here that like it's hard to just perform outside of your city. Like,
Yeah,
um,
it's specifically in Canada too. Like, even the states has cheaper flights.
yeah, and of course there's the other thing of like maybe we shouldn't be flying all the time. I kind of think the future. I mean,
Like, I don't have a choice.
maybe this is my like super far green leftist take, but I just think the future might be playing more locally, just because like air travel and stuff may not be tenable for a long time. Um,
Yeah,
in terms of climate change and stuff. I don't know for sure. I mean, of course, it's totally possible we come up with technology that means we can like have cleaner air travel and stuff. Um,
hmm
but anyways, not to get on a rabbit trail, but I just think like it's nice for me now. It's nice being in a region that's densely populated where you can take trains and stuff or cheap flights that are not. Yeah. Anyhow. Yeah.
hmm
Canada's hard, but I do miss Canada because I mean, the Netherlands is like flat and just like people everywhere. There's no like, there's no mountains. I mean, there's
Oh,
beautiful
it's not like
countryside, but
yeah.
yeah, I miss the Canadian landscape and I miss the Canadian people. Canadian people are awesome.
Yeah, I'll probably miss like I don't know what the proximity is of you to the ocean, but like I love living next to the Atlantic Ocean right there and all the icebergs and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you live in Den Haag, or Amsterdam, you're quite near the ocean. Den Haag, especially, it's
Yeah,
like there's
specifically Amsterdam. Yeah.
yeah, Den Haag has a huge beach, Scheveningen, which is like a giant, huge beachfront,
Okay.
which is cool. It's just like the rest of the country. It's really beautiful country, actually. Like the Dutch countryside and the Dutch people, and the cities are beautiful, and all the curated. It's all just sort of all curated because there's so many humans, and it's all flat, so there's no like mountains or anything. Anyhow,
Right.
okay. We got very off topic there. Um, let's listen to you playing a piece that was written for you, right? Prime Directive.
Yes, that's right. My first electroacoustic commission.
Awesome. By
Commission.
Joe Donaghy. Do you want to talk about
Yep.
this piece a bit?
Sure. So this was piece. It was commissioned and dedicated to the inaugural 21st Century Guitar Conference, which has had an enormous influence on my entire career trajectory. It was a very monumental and highlight moment of my career so far, and I'm really excited that I've been accepted to perform there on a few occasions as well at the upcoming event in March. Hopefully, we should be able to go there. We'll see.
Yeah,
But
me too.
considering everything that's going on right now, yes, we're gonna meet each other and hang out for the first time in person.
Yeah,
It's
and
gonna
I'm gonna play Shadow Prism. It'll be awesome.
yes, it's gonna be
Maybe
sweet.
maybe you should just like we should just play like half the piece each or something. Like
Yeah, we can make it like a duo piece.
we can trade off, and you can like improvise over the same
Yeah,
cell, and
like
then
what's the jazz thing? It's like trade fours.
yeah, you could just like you could be playing the cell, and then at a certain point I come in at the same tempo, and then take it over and like continue it, and then you can
Exactly.
yeah.
Right. A
Could
little
be.
bit more specifically about this piece, Prime Directive.
Sorry.
I better unbox this. Sorry about that. I'm just like super crisp. But yes, it's based off of Star Trek. A rule of thumb from all the Star Trek series, the Prime Directive, which means like to not interfere or get involved with the other species that are basically like their way of life and their rule making and things like that. And so the Prime Directive, the CD title being Prime, that's the title piece. Prime is also Latin, I think, for first. So it's my first of hopefully a series of recordings. And Prime also being inspired from the 21st Century Guitar Conference during a roundtable discussion with Steve Goss and some other composers. Steve himself said that he believes that the guitar is in its prime right now. And so then I was
Oh.
just like, holy no way, I did not just perform a piece named Prime Directive yesterday. So I was like, yeah, so that really inspired the creation of this, and really just showing a big massive light of optimism on like everything, even though there's still a lot of like uncertainty in like in this field. But
Mhm.
yeah, so that really just resembled this whole idea of, I guess, representing what the guitar in its prime actually is, or what that can represent, and what I want to do, and where I want to go from here. And so I think this piece obviously represents that as well. This performance specifically is not from the conference, though. This was from a new music festival we had in October. We have like a bunch of new music festivals as part of an organization called Sound Symposium. This was On Sound Electronic Music Festival, and this was a night of featuring all electroacoustic works of various mediums. And we had some flute, we had some electric guitar, we had some piano, a little bit of everything. And I was featured in that concert, and people really enjoyed it. And so this is that live performance.
Cool. Awesome. Let's listen to The Prime Directive.
Sweet.
captivating.
Thanks.
Very
I'm
nice.
glad it
Yes. We weren't just talking off screen this whole time.
No, of course.
Wonderful. Yeah, there's like we were talking about how there's some like El de Camera Negro from Leo Brouwer vibes happening, you know?
Yeah. I think there's numerous other influences as well as that arpeggio section of like like that ostinato is going on. That's going on for like quite a while. Joe loves Diens. I'm trying to get him to write a homage to Roland Diens. That's
Nice.
something I really want to do, and like this, I think that's something that hasn't really been done yet. But I think that's something that he'd do really well because he played the Libre Sonatine, and he also has done like other things like Song Capricorn, even like Tango and Sky. He loves like all of his music and his rhythmic flavor, I think. And so there's that, and like there's actually a section in the score that says Diens-esque. So there's a little bit of that.
Okay.
And yeah, and obviously he loves electronic music, and like a lot of the electronics were inspired. He created it all, I believe, in Logic, and so there's a lot of really exceptional work being done there too. Because I feel like there's a good balance with this piece between like the foreground and the background of what takes the role when. Because that with electroacoustic music, you have to think about that, like is the theme in the electronics, and do I have to balance here? But with a guitar, you basically just have to play and like do whatever you can.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if an homage to Roland Diens has been done. I feel like Marek Paczniak, this Polish guy. I can't remember. Has again. I'm sorry to all the Poles out there. I'm just really bad with Polish last names. Some of them, anyways. With pronouncing them. This Marek guy, you know him.
Yes. Yeah.
I feel like he's written so many homages. I feel like he's written an homage to Diens, but I could be wrong.
Right. I think he's done one for Takemitsu as well. And I know Leo Brouwer did one.
Yeah. I'm actually learning this homage by Annette Krausbrink. You know this Dutch composer. Do you know her?
Oh, okay.
And
Don't think so.
it's an homage to Lutosławski, but
Cool.
it's also written for Marek. So I was like, I bought the score and I started learning it because I was like, oh, Lutosławski. I don't know his music that well, but I'm like, it's cool. It's very like out there. There's some unmeasured parts, a lot of like extended techniques and stuff. And then I noticed it was for Marek. I was like, wow, there's layers upon layers here of homagery going on, you know?
Yeah. We're all an homage to something somehow.
Yeah, composers are all like taking inspiration from one another, right? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. That's actually kind of like the focus of my program that I'm sort of like putting together and doing after the masters. It's like I have Nathan's homage to Shostakovich. I play the Faya homage. I play a variations on a theme by Debussy by Tilman Hopstock.
Yeah. You should play the Diaz that I did in the countdown.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not super into that piece. I don't think it's bad. It's not my favorite Diens. I would rather play like Triella if I was going to play Diens, I think.
Right.
Um,
Heartbroken.
I'm sorry.
He also has really cool, like he has a homage to Frank Zappa and Elogio de Leo Brouwer.
Right, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, but I'm learning these pieces by Aneta also, these homage to Lutosławski, which are cool. One of them uses a pick, so you're like a pick on your classical guitar, like really aggressively playing. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's super cool. Ross Chiason says, great playing, Ben. Great to hear about all your projects as well. I've got to run, but thanks for the entertainment, fellows. Thanks, Ross.
Thanks, Ross. Great to hear from you.
We will see you on the show soon. I guess I'm going to have to record feature recordings of Ross's guitars, so maybe I'll get one from you also, because you're playing.
You can probably use the Prelude number 2 or the Diaz, or literally any of these. I can, yeah.
Yeah, I have a bunch of recordings too, and then Joel Thompson, also my former duo partner in Vancouver, is playing one of Ross's guitars. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes, Ross's guitars are excellent. I should be putting a link to for him in the stream as like an advertisement every week, actually. Okay. Anyhow, great piece, Ben. I like that. We're gonna play some classical guitar. Would you rather? You ready?
Okay.
So you know how this works, right? I give you two options,
Yeah.
and you have to pick between two terrible options.
Or come up with a third one.
Yeah, or that. There are no rules. Would you rather have your guitar go out of tune during a performance, or would you rather have a very big memory slip and need to restart an entire section?
I think with good performance practice, you can deal with the going out of tune thing and give a convincing musical performance rather than restart and feel really shitty.
What if it's like a full quarter tone out of tune? Like,
I think it depends on the piece, but I'm still kind of thinking about that option.
okay, that's fair. I mean, I guess you can always adjust it as you're going, but still.
Yeah. If it's a quarter tone, that's like a good twist.
Yeah. I guess restarting a whole section is kind of rough. Maybe I should just say a memory slip. It sounds a little bit less.
Right. Like that last movement of the Diana suite, like where I have to do like the like I have to actually look at what I'm doing with my left hand to make sure I don't lose the position. Because if I just kind of like do that, then I could just be out for the rest of the piece.
Oh man, that's brutal. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like pieces that make you tune in the like tune like that during a note. It's yeah.
There's not very many, luckily.
Yeah, there's not very many because then the guitar goes out of tune again afterwards. So
Right.
people know it's a bad idea. If you had to learn and perform one of these pieces from memory in 1 week, let's say that you've never like worked on it before, and you had to learn and perform it in 1 week, would you rather choose the Ginastera Sonata or 5 Scarlatti sonatas of your choosing?
Well, I wouldn't want to learn any of those in a week, but if I had a choice, probably the Kinestera.
Okay, because
I feel like I could get away with not like I don't know. This is a shitty comment, but I don't want to like. I could get away with less technical accountability. I think.
Yeah,
For
it's true.
star. And the duration. I mean, 5 Scarlatti sonatas. I mean, even 2 Scarlatti sonatas could be almost the length of the
That's
Pianisters.
true. Maybe I should have said 3. What if it was 3
Three. I mean, depending on what three, because some of them are really easy.
of
like
your
Kate.
choice? Of your choice.
Yeah. Well, there's some that I actually feel like I can probably like read through. Not on stage. I would want to do that, but I'd probably, in terms of like a performance, probably the three, because if I could choose the three, and
Yeah.
yeah, so I'd probably go with the Scarlatti.
Yeah. At the same time, though, the Kinestera is like kind of easier to memorize in some ways, I guess, except for maybe the last
Yeah.
movement.
Because if you gave that on like their repertoire toy test, I think a lot of people would probably get it because I mean everybody
Right.
kind of had some sort of experience with it.
I
I've
guess
never
it also depends on the context. If you're playing in a guitar festival, I'd rather choose the Scarlatti sonatas and choose sonatas nobody knows.
Yeah.
Because the Kinestera everybody knows. But if you're playing for an average, like a normal audience of real normal humans, then the Kinestera sonata is a safe bet because you can get away with a lot, like you said.
Yeah. And not necessarily get everything up to performance tempo and still find a way to like
Yeah.
give a performance of it. Especially the scherzo too. I mean that thing is dangerous.
It's true, but some people play it quite slow. I've heard tempos like that, and it doesn't sound awful, you know. I mean, I prefer a much quicker tempo, but I'm just saying, people play it slower. Anyhow, okay. Would you rather play a concert when you haven't slept for a day or haven't eaten for a day?
I react worse to being hangry than being really tired. So
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the tired one. I deal with the tired one actually, especially with travel. Like a snowstorm happens and I have to fly at like 5 a.m. instead of 10 p.m. the previous night. So like, in terms of my experience, I'm more accustomed to the tired thing.
Yeah, yeah. And guitar festivals, you know, you stay up late and then you wake up early to get your ass kicked in some technique class.
Yeah, that's so accurate. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. That was like Renee's festival in Carrion de los Condes in Spain last year. It was like every night we went to the bar, and then every morning it was like wake up at like 8 a.m. to go like have Renee drill you on technique for 2 hours, and like you leave feeling like a worthless guitarist. Okay, would you rather sight read a concerto on stage, like let's say like the Ponce Concerto, or shit your pants and play perfectly from memory?
Um, uh, Wait, can you just repeat that?
Let's say you have two options. You go on stage and you sight read this concerto in a performance, okay?
Okay.
Like the Ponce Concerto or something. You've never worked on it before in front of an audience for a concert. Or you go on stage and you play from memory and you play perfectly best concert of your life, but you shit your pants very noticeably.
Oh, like actual like poo.
Yeah, like actual yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like
I would
everyone in the audience and the orchestra can tell. It's like
Right. So here's what I would do. I would do the sight reading one and leave out a lot of like inner voices. I'd probably just play the theme. I mean all the scales, I'd probably just be like, this
Ben
sucks.
plays melodies from the Ponce Concerto.
It's just me going duh, 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 duh. It would suck, but like I would rather deal with that than make the concertmaster like really upset.
I guess. I mean, the counter argument though is that like, if you shit your pants, at least you're still professional because you play well. Then people will be like, "Oh yeah, that's the guy who had like an accident on stage, but he still played great." You know?
It's like, don't take laxatives before a 30-minute concerto.
Yeah. Anyhow,
Oh,
okay.
both sound terrible. Oh my god.
Yeah. I'm just here to bring you the mature questions. Would you rather only be allowed to perform music originally for guitar or transcriptions for the rest of your life?
Definitely, I would definitely say originals. I
Okay.
mean, yeah. I mean, I think of like new music transcriptions and like,
There's like
what?
nothing. Yeah, it doesn't exist. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well, actually, that's
original.
not true. There's Vukash
Oh
Krivachevsky
yeah,
did
that's
the Penderecki, right?
right. Right. Yeah, and there's also Tim Beattie plays a transcription of the Ligeti cello sonata. It's sick.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's also by a Polish guitarist. Then transcription, is it not?
probably. Tim, if you're there, you should answer that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he told me who it was. I'm a bad
Yeah.
person and forgot. But yeah, he plays the
Oh my.
Ligeti. That's
Yeah,
true.
but like, would I compare that piece to like a Brouwer sonata? Nah,
Yeah.
I'd go with the originals.
And also, if you want to work with composers, you can't work
Yeah,
with composers who
that's a
are.
good question for people that are like Renaissance Baroque.
Yeah, a lot of people are playing a lot of Baroque music. Yeah. Actually, speaking of cello transcriptions of more contemporary, it's not really contemporary anymore, but I did want to for a while try to transcribe the Britten solo cello sonatas
Oh, amazing!
because they exist, but then I never did it. I don't know. I don't know if it's really
Oh, yeah, because
possible.
Britain wrote for solo cello.
Yeah, with unaccompanied solo cello.
That
So
sounds sick.
yeah, someone should do that and then send
Hmm.
it to me so I can play it, so I don't have to do the work of transcribing it.
That's why we do performance degrees after all.
Yeah, exactly. Um, all right. We're gonna listen to some more music now, Ben. We're just
Oh, that's all the Would You Rather I survived. Nice.
Yeah, you survived.
Yeah.
We're gonna listen to some music by Craig Visser.
Yes.
This piece is not just you playing. Do you want to tell the audience what it's all about?
Yeah, that's correct. So, also at the guitar conference, despite being a soloist, I was also involved in the large guitar ensembles. And so, this piece here is a movement from Craig Visser's Dark Dwellings, or In Darkness Let Me Dwell, is inspired by the John Dowland, I believe, the song. And yeah, so it's featuring Alex Bougie as an electric guitarist, as the soloist. He's a really good friend of mine from the Ottawa Guitar Trio. He's one of he just loves music and he's such a passionate and really nice person. I really like working with him, and so yeah, so there was this part. This piece was a really highlight performance for me in the ensemble sector because I have this moment where I was assigned like a given role, like in a given passage where I had to just rake a chord up this way, and I remember on stage looking at Alex as soon as I did that, he was just like. Dude, he was so excited. It was just so like lively. It was like, man, it just made me feel really happy to be on that stage at that moment. And like this piece itself was really nice to listen to. And my teacher really liked the performance. She was there in the audience as well. And yeah, so it also just shows like the influence of the guitar conference on me. This was the same night as not Lucas Pierce, Kurt Lorenz-Steiner was doing all of the projections. So like all of this would be like pattern electric lights and things like that. And the Cowan Cicolitti's incredible, oh my god, incredible concert with the Iceberg New Music Collective. So it was a lot of new music and guitar and lights and a really good time. And yeah, so this is Craig Visser's piece. This is one movement called The Cave. And yeah, I'm playing in an ensemble, and you'll probably hear like this big crash, and Alex
Awesome.
going like,
Is this in reference to Plato's cave? No.
don't think so. Yeah, I don't even, not even sure what that is.
Okay. Well, Craig, if you're watching and you can tell us what the cave is about, please let us know.
Yeah.
We'd love to know. Okay, let's listen to the cave. Very cool.
Yeah, big shout out to Craig. I would obviously, if this was in person, I'd be like, "Where's the composer?" Here,
Yeah.
clap.
Well, he's watching. He said it is not in reference to Plato's Cave, so that was just me asking wild questions. And
Oh,
he says, but great summary, Ben. So there you go.
oh, cool. Thanks. Yeah, I think I remember clearly you summarized it twice, once at Ale Grande, which is the official premiere of all the movements, but also at the conference as well too. We did a little bit of like a pre-composer talk, so that was a really good experience there as well.
Awesome. Yeah, we were talking before the stream started about Craig's music. I played a bunch of the caprices. I've actually played all five over time, but I played them in different kind of performances. I need to like
Yeah.
record them. They're super nice pieces.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right. I want to play some Craig music as well too, and
yeah.
it may get some people because Sylvie wants people to start programming like Canadian music in recitals, and
Mhm.
especially in graduation recitals. It's like a big thing, like in other studios as well at mine. And so if we can get some Craig showing up, that'd be really cool because there's the Vespers, the Caprices, a lot of other pieces.
Yeah, I think he publishes through DAWs, so people who want to find it, you
Yeah,
can buy PDFs
all
on.
of the DAW the DAW scores look really great. I think.
Yeah. Steve Cowan says, "Hey kids, watch out! Watch who you're calling a kid, Steve."
Yeah, my 21-year-old nephew Ben here.
Yeah, that's right. I'm 30 now. I turned 30 in May, so
Whoa!
I'm getting
Wow.
way up there. And
Wait,
Steve,
wait,
I'm sorry,
your birthday's in May. What day?
May 29th.
Oh, okay. I'm the 10th.
Yeah. So I'm no longer a kid anymore, Steve. Okay. Um. Anyhow, it's nice to see you here, Steve, as well as Craig.
Definitely.
So Ben, we are nearing the end, but I want to know what you think the future of classical guitar is. I mean, the future is obviously you, the new generation, but beyond
I
that,
guess so, yeah. And even there, like, I don't feel like I'm the youngest. I mean, I was originally going to apply to the Boston Fest online competition, but I was actually too old for it, and that's the first time I've ever been too old for anything.
dude, I wanted to apply in Paris, and when I came to Europe, I wanted to apply in French schools, and Paris Conservatoire has a fucking age limit of 26 years old for masters.
What?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
and I started playing guitar when I was 19 and classical guitar when I was 20. So like,
yeah.
yeah, it's just like, but it's just ridiculous to me. I'm like, how can you
That's
limit that?
that's actually kind of creepy, like all the same. But I don't want to
Yeah,
like like or start like a big like riot or anything. But like it just shows that like you're preferring to have young faces in your school.
it's weird to me because I'm like, age doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna have longevity or that you care or
You can see people starting their masters at like age 40 or even older than that. So I mean
yeah.
like
I think there's a cult of age in classical music, right? Like,
yeah.
anyhow, but sorry, the future is you were saying.
Right. We're talking about the past and we're talking
Yeah.
about too old. We should talk about being young. So
Yeah.
basically, yeah, I do agree. Earlier, you said like, oh, it's so nice to see like somebody so young engaging with new music. But in terms of here, I'm not. I don't think the only of my kind. Well, as a guitarist, possibly, but like all the percussion majors are so into new music. There's a lot of pianists, a lot of singers are doing a lot of like contemporary song cycles, and obviously the composers. So like, there's a really big appreciation of new music at the school, and specifically I attend, and maybe as like a cool identity of Canadian music is the fact that we're so innovative with like things like electroacoustic music. I think that's something that we identify with is electroacoustic compositions for different settings, and other things like that as well too. Like even technology is starting to develop too. So we're going to start seeing, I think, more directions towards newer compositions. I think that at some point we're gonna eventually also maybe see some really big pedagogy changes. I discussed recently with Jean Ducharme about a couple of things at the domain online, and he really wants to maybe even see some development of the C finger because I mean it's an extra finger that we have. I mean the physiology it's really small and obviously it's just not something that a lot of us are designed to do. But there's a potential for that to be a factor in something that changes pedagogy because there are some pedagogy changes that we can and maybe even should change. I also believe that speaking of which, like the David Leisner playing with ease is incredible. You've probably read it, right?
I haven't actually read it, but I do really want to. I've heard a lot of
Okay.
people talk about
Yeah,
the
it
principles in
really
it.
challenges a lot of traditional perspectives about technique and technical approach, and even how we position ourselves. And I think that's any way that we can possibly get around to like, preventing vocal dystonia from happening is fantastic. And I think that things like that are really going to help, I guess, put it towards a more positive direction. Of course, right now the short term future of classical guitar is rather bad. I mean, especially because I know that a lot of us want to teach, and I think I'm very very lucky to be teaching going into this pandemic right now. And so the actual study and the actual approach to classical guitar, I think for if there's going to be like a ripple effect, I think as a result of the fact that performance culture is basically out at the moment.
Yeah.
Besides, obviously, things online, but I think that
Hmm.
our whole approach to giving concerts is going to be different. I think.
I feel like, well, okay, there's a lot of things you brought up there that like
Yeah.
I would want to expand on, but like I think, well, okay, first of all about the teaching thing, I think that like the lack of positions and the state of higher education for
Absolutely.
classical
Yeah.
music is problematic at at the very least, to put it
Yep.
mildly. However, not problematic. I don't mean that in the terms of like we need to get rid of the Western canon in classical music and higher education. I think that's all kind of overblown, to be honest. But I mean problematic in the sense of like there's just not enough demand for it, and there are too many programs trying to pump out too many graduates in some ways. Although
Yeah.
I would say that like there's definitely a future there, but I think that yeah, like we're gonna have to look outside of the institutions, especially with the number of people who are doing
Yeah.
this, right? And so I think I feel like a broken record at this point, but I feel like grassroots community organizations like what you're doing and sort of getting in touch with your own community. And I don't even think it's limited to new music. Like I love playing new music, but I don't really want
Yeah.
to have this attitude of like the future is all
Elitism.
contemporary music and working with composers. I think
Yeah.
people who are really passionate about making Scarlatti transcriptions or making
Well, it
transcriptions,
should do it. They should have they should have the resources. They should have the support
but
in what
more
they do.
importantly, they should be learning to do it in a way that connects with their community, which I think is what contemporary music is good at doing. That maybe other like styles of sort of like I guess periods and sort of things don't necessarily
Yeah.
pick up on. So I think it all comes down to the ability of us to communicate with the people around us and to show
Yeah.
them
Of course.
this art form in whatever form it's in,
Yeah,
right?
I think that's so true too, and not just collaborating with other musicians, but collaborating maybe even with other artists. Because something I recently did throughout the earlier part of the quarantine is collaborated with somebody in my town whose name is Peter Cowan. He's a friend of mine. I used to sing in a choir with him, and he makes drone videos. And so I did recordings of like "Day of November" by Noel Brower, that Dale Kavanagh, and other pieces like that. That basically they were set to these really beautiful drone videos, and that's basically us collaborating with a visual artist. And so things like that, there maybe collaborating with dancers, collaborating with movies, and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Because there's more than obviously just music to look out for as well too. But
Yeah.
obviously music is the start. I mean, even like Sharon Isbin's already doing that. She recently did a recording of like I don't like saying world music, but it's kind of like what it is, like the global different kinds of string instruments. So
Right.
that's another example of that. I mean, that also that hilarious picture with the Steve Vai as well, the electric guitarist.
Yeah.
So like, there's room for obviously more of that because I think that there's a way of poking interest and finding a relatable common ground with people that don't necessarily know that much about classical guitars. For example, like we have like people that will go see like a Tommy Emmanuel concert in St. John's and it's full and like it's sold out for 2 nights. But if it's a guitar recital that if somebody's like graduating, then it's like maybe half capacity. So there's got to be a way to show people that there's an interesting thing about both fields.
Yeah. For sure.
And
Um,
also, like academically, my end goal is to also get a doctorate. Well, for one, that's the flex that everybody makes fun of, like, oh, you're going to be Dr. Diamond. And I'm just like, ooh, really? But also because it's like I really do want to like learn and really develop and like research. That's something I do like to do. I like to learn. I like to go to school. Like
mhm.
unlike a lot of people, I think at some point I don't see myself getting tired of schooling by that time.
Yeah, I mean, I think the doctorate is what it is used sometimes for. Okay, I'm going to speak as someone who hasn't done it and probably won't do it for
That's fair.
reasons I'm about to elucidate. I think that like sometimes it's done as like just a way to stay in school and have more training. However, I think that it should be done if someone really wants to research and really wants to delve into a
Yeah.
specific thing, right? Like I have tremendous respect for people who make their doctoral research and dissertation into something that really contributes to the field, right? And
Exactly.
there,
Like Tosh was talking about how he wants to develop the Ferdinand Rebai sonatas, and like I
yeah,
think
something like that.
really
I just think like it's not really there's the sort of positions you could get from having a doctorate are so few and far between that it's not really a great move in terms of like a next step for making your career better in terms of
yeah,
your
exactly.
prospects. But it's really good if you want the knowledge and want to do the research and want to,
Yeah, and you want to present and you want to collaborate with other academics as well, because there is employment and there is sustainability to that as well too.
for
Even
sure.
in that, like
And
there's
it's
like
also,
there's grants and things like that, and like conferences, even like the 21st Century Guitar Conference. There's a lot of really well thought out scholarship for that, and that's
yeah,
why
but I
like
mean,
there
you
was
don't have to have a doctorate to do that kind of thing.
yeah,
I
of
mean,
course.
the doctorate itself is a little bit surplus requirements unless you want like a position. Um, I guess the other thing is if you get a really good offer for a doctorate and you're kind of getting really good funding throughout it, then you're kind of being paid to do it.
Yep.
That's kind of nice. But I mean, like I'm presenting the 21st Century Guitar Conference on my research, and I don't have a doctorate. I have two masters, but
I don't even have a bachelor, and I'm doing one too.
yeah, yeah, for sure. But I mean, that's the other thing about academia that's weird. Like I um when I did my research, it was on the topic of how composers and guitarists collaborate. That was like the main topic I did it on during this
That's awesome.
master's, and my supervisor and everyone was really happy with the methodology. But then there was some feedback during the the presentation from like panelists who weren't even involved in my whole project development, who really didn't like the methodology, and it was just weird because like anyways, I'm not going to get super into it, but the funny thing was that happened and I got like a grade I wasn't necessarily super happy with, even though my supervisor was super happy with the research. And then I got accepted to present at the conference like the same week. And it's like, right, what actually matters is when you're outside school, what people in the community think of
Oh,
this
100%.
research.
Yeah.
Like, do they think it's useful? Do they think it's interesting? Like, what happens within the academic walls doesn't really, for us at least, thankfully, doesn't really, define us when we
Right.
leave school,
Because
right?
even on a topic or a presentation that can be very objectively evaluated, there's still a lot of subjectivity. There's perspective. Like, I don't like this topic. I don't want to talk
Yeah,
about it.
well, that was the weird thing is like the
Bias.
masters here is very very open. It's less academic actually than in North America. The European masters.
Well, I'm going there.
Yeah, well, yeah, but they're very much like it's artistic research. The product can be open ended. It's subjective and anecdotal. I knew my main methodology was interviewing guitarists and composers from like now who work together, not looking at so many
Yeah.
historical examples. And I knew it was going to be highly anecdotal as a result. And I knew that my data was very much a set of anecdotes.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
and then in the end, some external assessor wasn't happy with that, but whatever. Anyways, that
Mhm.
I can't help that, right? It's like this is the methodology I chose because I think the topic works with it, even though I know it doesn't give me an
Right.
objective answer.
It also very much helps that that topic is very applicable to what you're interested in as well too.
That's why I did it because I had the tour with Nathan and I was working with some composers and I had two pieces that got
Yeah.
written through the
It was kind of like
project.
field research, like a real experiment.
Yeah, but also I wanted to make sure it was applicable to after school. I guess that's what I'm saying is like whether people do doctorates or not, whatever they do should be something that carries them beyond school, like
Yeah.
into what they do with people in the community. Um,
Exactly.
which was kind of the focus that Nathan and I had with that tour was that we were like taking to different communities this program of new music that was a result of a lot of collaboration.
Hmm.
Anyways, um,
Obviously, you collaborated with Nathan, and then there's collaboration with everybody. There's collaboration with Craig, Christina.
yeah, he collaborated with Sean Clark. We played Christina's piece that she collaborated with Emily on. Like most of the pieces on that program were the result of composers and guitarists coming
Yeah,
together,
Nathan
right?
Noble, of course, obviously.
Yeah, and the piece that Tova wrote for Rob McDonald that Steve also played. Anyways,
Um,
yeah. Anyhow, so um, I think that we see eye to eye on the future of classical guitar, Ben.
yeah, we see various futures rather than just one, because
Yeah,
it's like that scene in Avengers: Infinity War is like 14,605,000, like, and how many were like it's actually good. It's like, I don't know, one.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, and I think that's the other thing too is that we have to be open to the fact that now that there are so many people going through programs and becoming educated as classical guitarists, we're all going to fill different niches. We're all going to fill different markets,
Yep.
and we can't have a one size fits all approach to how you're going to use your education and what you're going to do
Yeah,
with it.
exactly. That's something I got to keep in mind too, because I know I'm recording a Canadian CD project, but I also have to make sure that I'm making my way to go out of my way to really interpret and really master all of the eras at this moment in my development too, because especially to be a really good teacher, you have to be really well rounded.
Yeah, you need some well rounding, but at the same time, I also think that successful players are the ones who find their artistic identity during school because people don't
Yeah.
realize that when they graduate, the works they played in school are their program that they take to competitions, that they take to concerts, right?
Yep, all the fuoko.
Yeah, but I'm saying like you need kind of, you have to develop some kind of artistic personality while still getting a balanced education so that when you graduate, you can, present that as like a very complete, like, this is who I am and this is what I focus on. And, I have something unique to say, basically.
Yep.
Um, yeah. Anyhow,
Mhm.
a plurality of possibilities would be good. All right, we're gonna play the lightning round. Ben, you ready?
Okay.
Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Oh,
With all
nice.
respect to dogs.
Even though you don't have a cat there.
Even though I have neither.
Fair. Toronto or Montreal?
Montreal.
Me too. Scarlatti or Bach?
Buck.
Vanilla or chocolate?
Vanilla ice cream, chocolate, everything else.
Oh, solo or chamber?
At this stage of my development, solo, but not to rule out chamber in the future.
Okay. Steve's or my interpretation of Shadow Prism?
Oh.
You don't have to answer that. It's okay.
uh, both.
Both. Oh, so kind.
Yeah.
Okay. Mammals or reptiles?
Um, Mammals.
Okay. Beer or wine?
Beer.
Jus de Kyle Perrois or Marchandila?
Marchandila.
He plays more new music, I guess. Pizza or pasta?
Pizza.
Liszt or Chopin?
Chopin.
Cedar or spruce?
Spruce.
Free stroke or rest stroke?
Free stroke, but you need both. But
True.
free stroke because I feel like I get better tone.
I'm the same way. Free stroke is my default, and I use
Yeah.
it, and I get better sound. But then rest stroke for for slower passages, I really like rest stroke.
Yeah, because I like everybody. There's people that can play the shikun with the rest stroke scales, and was like, I would not be able to do that at half tempo.
Yeah, I don't like that.
There's moments in like my Tarina where like it's influenced by slurs, and that's when you get that like the money runs. So
Yeah.
it's a really great tool. It's a color,
I
but for the most part, like especially with my carbon strings and my tone, like I want the free stroke
yeah.
basically whenever I can.
I think I did some rest stroke in Aranjuez, some of the scales, just to get like a really nasty bright sound, and then
Yeah.
I think that there's the third movement of the Tedesco Concerto. I think I played that with rest stroke because those scales are quite they're not so like complex, those scales,
Yeah.
So anyhow, but yeah, I avoid rest stroke scales, to be honest. Coffee or tea?
Coffee,
Whiskey or gin?
whiskey,
Debussy or Ravel?
WC,
Breakfast or dinner?
breakfast.
Justin Bieber or Avril Lavigne?
Neither.
Neither. Oh, okay. South Park or The Simpsons?
I'm more familiar with The Simpsons.
Okay.
Simpsons.
Campanella or regular scales?
Campanella.
Soar or Giuliani?
Gianni.
Me too. Sweet or salty?
Sweet.
Tremolo or scales?
Scales, because my tremolo is terrible.
Okay. Rodrigo or Tedesco or Ponce?
Tedesco.
Nice. We see eye to eye on a lot, Ben. Concert or masterclass?
Like to host a masterclass?
If you're giving it, which one would you rather give?
Masterclass.
Restoration of the composer's intention or personal interpretation?
Both?
What a cop out.
I keep doing this, but the composer's intention
Okay.
is what we're supposed.
I feel like that's a very contemporary music answer.
Yeah.
Bream or Segovia?
Bream.
Mountains or beaches?
Beaches.
Carbon or nylon, the most important one.
Carbon.
Nice.
But I want to experiment with both. I haven't done that yet.
You should do maybe do the first string nylon on spruce guitars especially.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people that like to do their G carbon if they're nylon players.
Yeah, but I think especially on a spruce guitar, the first string carbon can be quite harsh.
Yeah.
You know. Um, any hoozle. Okay, well, we're basically at the end here. Is there anything else you want to mention before we sign off?
Um, sure. Before we go to Taiwo's piece, I'll mention obviously the conferences that I have and like to follow me on social media. I don't have any details about it yet, but for the most part, yeah. If you have any questions about the virtual guitar retreat and you want to participate and come to the concerts, please do not hesitate to email us at atlanticguitarsociety@gmail.com or contact us over on Facebook and Instagram. You can
Link in
also
the
contact me
description.
on that's right. Yeah, thanks. And you can also contact me on my personal Facebook and Instagram pages. My guitar pages, Ben Diamond Guitarist. I was very lucky to get those usernames. And yeah, so that's going to be a really great week. I'm hoping to really have a lot of concerts sold for that. And as well as update on my CD. That's probably going to be released digitally first, so stay tuned for more details about the specific release date for that. Here in Newfoundland, we have a lot of restrictions laid off about performance practice. A lot, not a lot, but I'll say like enough that I might have an in-person release concert that'll be live streamed in like October, November. That's something I'll look into as well. And yeah, so if that's something that interests you, my CD of All Canadian Music Prime, featuring music by Dale Kavanagh, Andrew Staniland, Jason Noble, Holly Winter, Steve Murphy. That entire suite's going to be premiered, and as well as the premiere recording of Prime Directive by Joseph Donahue. And if that's something that interests you as well, you can check out some recordings. I'm going to be doing some recordings of that on my YouTube and as well as on my social media platforms. Other than that, I think I'm pretty much good. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to the generous donors of the show as well, too. Thank you, Michael, for having me. This was I
No
love this
worries.
show. Really nice to be on the show as well, too, and to get to talk about and be a new music elitist.
Yeah, the only thing that we're missing is the comment you always do at the beginning of every show that
Yeah,
you're the first one.
yeah, exactly. And to just really just continue to really spread the love and appreciation for this instrument because I mean, despite the time that we're in right now, we have to remember why we did this in the first place. You know, we're artists, and what would this quarantine be without the people like us in our profession, right?
True. Very true. Awesome.
And that's a very positive note that I'll leave on. But before we go right into a really great artist of mine who I just recently acquainted-sized with on Facebook, Taiwo Adagok. He's based out of Nigeria. He has a massive catalog of guitar works and arrangements as well. So I think he should start actually adding opus numbers because there's so many, honestly. So
Yeah, he's gonna come on the show next week. Okay, wait, I think I have it written. I know I set the time with him, but
yeah,
as usual, I'm extremely organized and didn't have it in my head
greatly.
beforehand.
We started on time.
Um, okay, okay, damn it, I didn't write it right here. Taiwo's coming on the show in the first week of August. I will put out a post, everyone, like in the next couple days about the
Yeah,
August.
I'll be able to tune in for probably the first half because you know I'm in the middle of another guitar festival, which I
Yeah,
might have talked.
for sure.
But yeah, so check him out and check out this performance too, which we're going to end off with. And I'm looking forward to programming this piece in an upcoming concert in the middle of August. So yeah, more details about that on my social media platforms. I'm still gonna make a website. That's something I need to do as well too. Because
Yeah, I
you
was
know,
gonna say I was looking you up for the links in the description and I couldn't find your website. So
yeah, I need to like use like Squarespace or something like that and get that on the go. That's
or
something I'm gonna
Wix,
do.
yeah. Anyhow, so okay, well, thank you, Ben. It's been amazing having you here,
Thank you. It's been amazing to be here.
and we're gonna listen to this piece by Taiwo Adegoke, and next week will be Taiwo, and also next week or the week after will be Anne Bellajouis, who's a French guitarist in Paris. She's also a former student of Carlos, she's teaching at a school there in Paris now,
Oh,
um,
cool.
and she's amazing player, plays
Wow.
some mean
Okay.
Scarlatti. So yeah, we're gonna have Taiwo and Anne next week, or in the coming couple weeks. Yeah, because she was supposed to be today, but she switched with you because the virtual guitar retreat's coming up. So
Oh,
um,
amazing. That was
yeah.
so nice. Thank you, everybody, for getting me in at the very last second, too.
Yeah, no, it's good. And yeah, it's been great having you here. And
Yeah,
everyone
so,
who's interested in supporting the Atlantic Guitar Society and the scholarship fund they're doing, you can find the description in the link in the description.
yes,
So we're gonna listen to "Dance of the G-Jaw Fisherman," right,
that's correct.
by Taiwo Adegoke. And when this recording's done, we'll just sign out. We'll be finished. So thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Stay
Cheers.
tuned for
See you.
the August schedule.
you.